Hello, everyone. I think we might actually have a short meeting today. Let's see. But meanwhile, if anybody wants to bring up stuff, please add them to the agenda. I'll wait another minute before getting started. Okay, we are 3 minutes past. Let's get started. Welcome everyone to the OVN-Kubernetes community meeting. Today is the 13th October 2025. Let's follow the CNCF code of conduct and be nice to each other. We will go through the items in the agenda in order. So if anyone has items they want to bring up, please add them to the agenda. Starting with Nadia, over to you for the CI flakes and dispatch work. Was my audio okay?
I can hear you.
I can't hear Nadia then.
Yeah, we don't. I think she might be talking on mute.
Yeah, maybe.
No.
Now we hear you. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, we hear you well. Yeah, go for it.
Well, so I was talking to myself and trying to say that I did a bit of review of our previously assigned issues, and first of all wanted to thank Perry and Jaime for fixing this really nice big issue with the metal LB and services. I think it's like 4 different bugs that are hopefully closed right now, but of course if anyone sees any failures in that field again, please reopen them. Hopefully that won't happen. And then I wanted to say that there are a couple of things that were assigned. Oh, wait a second. Oh, that someone else has added this other link for connectivity.
I sneaked in under the already fixed. That's something from the previous one. There was a bug. There's a fix. Reviews welcome.
Oh, awesome.
Is this a CI issue?
It's an issue where like you reboot a node and it loses connectivity.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
The fix
yeah,
itself is one line, and there's like 400 plus of tests and test lane and all that.
Yeah, let's talk about that after the CI dispatch thing. I think that's slightly different. Like, I think Nadia's going through the CI flake issues, but let's come back to that one, Ihar. Thanks for fixing that one.
I didn't realize it's CI related only.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind, but all right. So basically, we also assigned 2 more bugs. I just wanted to catch up on them and see how the progress goes. We assigned 1 to team, I think. Basically, the question is if you still have time, or maybe you have started working on that. It's just not really visible on the issue, or if we need to reassign that.
There's a comment right there.
Oh, 1 hour ago. Okay, well, you see, I prepared for the meeting more than an hour ago. Okay, that sounds cool. Thank you. And then the second one, well, hopefully there is, well, maybe it's good if there is a comment on that one already too. I did check them today a couple hours before. So yeah, this one is assigned to Martin for Egress API. He did comment a couple of weeks ago something that he didn't have the time, so I'm wondering if he will have the time in the near future, and if he's
yeah, Martin is super busy with escalations. I think maybe this is something we need to reassign. He's a bit overloaded.
Do we have any other Egress AP experts / volunteers that may be more lucky with the upstream time? to fix the flakes? Because I mean, if not, well, Martin will stay there, I guess.
I can try to get this assigned to someone else on the team. I'm sure we have folks who have more who are free.
Okay,
will
well, that would be
Check
nice.
this up, Nadia. Yeah, but I think we need to reassign this because it's not getting the attention it deserves. So
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's a good enough outcome. Maybe just at least an assignment or something so that it's visible. But yeah, if you can find someone else to sign, that would be also awesome. And yeah, and there is one more issue I just wanted to quickly discuss because it looks like there is already there was some investigation, and I saw there is like some comments. There are some comments from Martin and Surya on that one. I'll let you finish typing on that one. Yeah, and also maybe
Yeah.
Martin, I think he sounded like he kind of may have an idea of what's wrong with that. So yeah, maybe also we should ask him like.
This is the should respect internal traffic policy local.
Yeah, so there was some discussion, like I think that Martin and you both like found some similar kind of leads to what it may be related to or something.
Okay.
So there was
But
some like
is this
workarounds
happening
and stuff.
also now, or is it gone?
Oh well.
Like, is this flake active? Because I think I remember. So the last comment that people have is from April 22nd, right? And I think it's October. So I remember this one. It was actually an intermittent issue with our GitHub runners, and I remember that Kubernetes also got around this one by like there was a kernel version issue with IP tables v6. And even in Kubernetes, its internal traffic policy tests were failing. But maybe it fixed itself. Like,
okay,
if we are running the version of Ubuntu with, the right one, I think that's where we need to.
we do run the latest possible. I think I did bump it at some point to get the isolation tests working. So yeah, okay, then I will just close that one for now, and then we'll see if it comes back. Okay, that's good feedback.
Yeah, maybe we don't see. Should I just close it now?
I mean, yeah, if you don't mind, sure.
So that's thank you, Nadia. Oh, is that all right in this section?
Yeah, that's all for now. Maybe I'll come back with a couple more fresh ones next time.
Yeah. Thanks for keeping the CI hygiene clean. Patrick?
Yeah, sorry for being late. Is there anything you need me for that bug? I see.
Well, Martin is busy with some escalations, right? So this issue is assigned to Martin, but I think maybe if Marty is back from PTO, it might be something good for the new folks to start looking into CI if they're interested.
Okay, yeah, I'll sync up with him.
Yeah. And just to slowly introduce them to upstream. And maybe, yeah, I don't know if Marty is back, but maybe good to invite Matteo, Marty, and Lionel to the call. Okay, thanks, Patrick. Ihar, over to you. Sorry that I cut you before.
Oh, no problem. And for the most part, I just wanted to raise like that there's a patch and we can review that. As I said, for the most part it's just tests and CI. One related topic to that is, so I fixed the problem. The problem was that the transient ports were not cleaned up on the restart of OVS services. So that's why the backup. Once we fixed that, that's all. We also mentioned the previous time we talked to that, oh, maybe OVNK shouldn't even do that. Like maybe it shouldn't mess with the bridges, instead like rely on some kind of like an external service, like network manager or whatnot. And I thought about it. I think we cannot get rid of it, at least easily, because of the way we run our CI. Because our CI is based on kind There's nothing like network manager or anything of that sort there. So we can't easily test whatever, like if we remove this code, we would need to come up with something else, and we would not be able to test it as is in CI. So the code will have to stay, at least for the basic like, upstream kind of flows for testing.
Yeah.
It's a set, yeah.
Yeah, I think it should be fine. I think if I remember 2 weeks ago, we said for people to get going, we'll give you, I think we said we're going to adopt whatever Tim said, right? Wherein on reboot, we're going to fix the bridge so that whatever
Yes.
we did before reboot, it's our job to fix it when we reboot, correct? But we need to put somewhere in a bold red banner that OVS management
Yes.
should be done as a prerequisite for production workload for anything. I think that's fair and makes sense to me. I was a little hesitant, but like you rightly say, so for kind, we cannot bring in third thing. And are we doing reboot tests in kind? Like we reboot a node and then see if things come back and run some tests? Is that how you stumbled upon
So
this?
we are not doing it right now, and this is what my patch includes. There is a separate lane
Nice.
for like it's not a real reboot, like we don't have real nodes, but it stops and starts the container, which
Yeah,
is
yeah, which
enough
is
to
like,
trigger that. Yes.
shouldn't that mimic kind of reboots? Like rebooting a node and then
Yes, it's very similar. Like the only thing that is different is that obviously you don't reboot the kernel. There is no like a proper network manager or whatever as is used in production. So that would be like a separate concern. Like okay, like we can definitely put the red banner, update the documentation, but we would not, whatever we recommend, we are not testing ourselves. So the question is whether we would want to have something like a more real environment in CI to prove that whatever we recommend works. That would entail quite some work because you would need to actually switch to VMs. And there's a slight discussion I started. I don't feel like there is much of interest to pursue that because it's a lot of work. But in theory, we could do like we could have a separate lane that would instead of using kind to do something else. And this something else would probably be some custom automation that we would have to write. And just to test it also using VMs and the network manager and everything that we recommend, it still works. Whether it's worth our time, I don't know.
No, I don't think we should do that. Sorry. My question was there are two things you're saying, right? One is, if not for this hack in the code, what is the recommended way for people to really run our CNI, correct? Obviously, we need to write that. It's a recommended way. One could be network manager. Ubuntu folks might say use netplan. Someone else will say use systemd, networkd. So we cannot possibly test all the possible things, right? It's basically um, in some getting started guide, we include two ways of doing it. Maybe netplan. Netplan, we already use it in one of our zones. I can ask Shobin to write a blog about it. And network manager is something Dmitry Yusupov uses it. So between those two, they'll come up with a document and they'll submit MR, will integrate it. That thing doesn't need to be tested, okay? For our situation where for people, they use our Helm chart, they start using it, they start rebooting Node for whatever reason, we need to still enable the native way of fixing the bridges. And that's what you're going to do. That's what you're doing, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My other question is, the three things. The third part of my question is, we have found several issues where when you delete a node and add the node back, like we delete a node very frequently. One of our use cases is I need to upgrade the OS on the node, so I cordon, drain, and delete the node, upgrade the OS, and then add the node back or scale the node back. So we have found in various cases that a cluster has been running for 50 days. Now the node maintenance has started. When I do that node maintenance and scale the node back, not everything kind of attaches to that node that was just got added. I think we need a lane or at least a test in upstream where we delete a container node, kube kind node, and then attach it back. Once you attach the node back, we run some basic tests on it to make sure Avan Cube IC did everything correct as part of that. Do we have such test cases or not? We don't know, right?
We don't.
I'm not sure
I just fixed a bug in my PR where if you delete a node and you have a layer 2 UDN, your whole layer 2 UDN won't work anymore.
See, exactly.
So
Yeah, we have found some issues like that. Tim, do you agree we need something like, I'm not asking anybody to do it, at least we should raise the issue saying that we need.
Yeah,
Cool.
I think now that EHAR has provided this framework, we should definitely
Yes.
expand on the test cases.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that would
on
be a
Red Hat
new
side,
serial
actually,
test.
Martin and Hoiran were looking into adding exactly this, which is delete nodes, delete OVN-Kube, node pods. They're having a lot of flakes with egress IP, reboots, GARP, and all of that. So they were actually planning to also add reboot framework upstream. So this is actually something that now that everybody's mentioning it, I think maybe it's critical to track it.
It's
And
critical. There are two aspects actually. One is deleting node and scaling back. Second is reboot the node. Sometimes our fixes are either kernel live patch, no, not kernel. Yeah, some fix that we just need to reboot. Like say we increase the number of VFs, and we have to reboot. Even that use path, that use case also sometimes is broken. Cool. So here, can you kind of work with those Red Hat folks to make sure, at least in some reasonable time, all
How
these
many
things.
names? Oh,
Can I
okay.
volunteer to
I mean,
review this
if
PR?
Hey, cool, good, awesome, guys.
Okay.
yeah, so this one is Tim, right?
Yeah.
Did I
Yeah,
hear that right? Thanks, Tim.
and
I
then
was
maybe
trying
we
to
should
find an
open,
opportunity to insert it.
maybe we should open
Sorry.
another issue, like in addition to adding test cases for deleting nodes, we should open another issue for adding the documentation that you should create the BREX bridges some other way for production. And then like another issue for us providing an example way to do that, because I think NVIDIA has some ways to do it. Red Hat has like configure ovs.sh, which turned into, I think, something in Rust or something driving an mstate. So somebody needs to like look at all the options, then we come up with some way where we say, hey, yeah, you could use this on Fedora or Ubuntu to configure OVS.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can, Chauvin, if you're on call, please take the AirNet and then work with Dimitri for, and then we can have somebody from Red Hat also come in their way. So at least we have 2-3 ways of doing things.
Okay.
I think Chauvin is you're XKU or something. I don't know what's.
What? I'm driving,
What's your
sorry.
handle? What's your handle on? Yeah, what's your handle on?
JXILBIM.
Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to search for your Google, but that's fine. So will
Yeah,
you
that's
also
fine.
take the action item of opening an issue, Shabin?
So what's that?
Yeah, I'll talk to you offline.
We don't have an we don't have an issue yet. So like Tim said, it would be good to have that issue, and then I'm assigning that also to you. Thanks.
Yeah, sounds good.
And for this one, I think Ihar, do you want to take a stab at opening an issue and starting on it, and then we can help with reviews, or did you? I don't want to, overstep and throw it at you if you don't have time.
I mean, I can definitely create an issue. I think it logistically, it would make sense to first land the rebooting that I already have, because the whatever the deleting will probably base on that. Yeah. But
that makes sense. I think Tim has agreed to review that one. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you, Ihar. Thanks, Tim, Ihar, and Chauvin.
Who's carrying for the docs? So Chauvin will create the issue.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Ihar, for bringing this up, and thanks, Ihar, for fixing it. Okay. The next one's also Ihar, right? No?
Yeah, I'll try to stay short. So I created an RFE, would really like to first gauge the community, like how do you feel about it? But the gist of it is that the way we are building images on full, on huge base images like Fedora and Ubuntu may not be the best for every scenario. There are ways to build more lean images. There are a bunch of benefits of doing that. Like you may reduce the components that are exposed to risk. You may just reduce the size of the images and whatnot. So we can discuss that, like if you need more details on why that it would be helpful. So I was looking at how that could be done with. I started with OVN-Kube because it's kind of simpler, because it's a Golang static binary itself. So and one one thing that came up is that there's a kind of a dependency in how we run our services through this ovnkube.sh file, which pulls like the shell dependency through it. And I was thinking that actually there is no like intrinsic reason to have this script in between OVNCube binary and whatever the tool that is running, Kubernetes Helm, whatever. And I was looking at ways to get rid of it. Looked at the script. Doesn't seem like it would be a lot of work to actually get rid of it. So here I am, like I'm proposing to get rid of it so that we enable the path to build linear distroless images. And yeah, so obviously before I do anything in this vein, I would like to understand if that would be acceptable, if we would be interested in exploring that.
Yeah, so you have a couple of things here, right? Obviously, downstream, this all stemmed from the downstream requirement that we have a very stringent rules about running distroless. The second thing is, my worry is our downstream. It's also one of my points in my document I'm going to talk about is our downstream is not completely upstream. There are a lot of changes. We have identified it in the course of time. We're going to upstream it. So you will also have to look at downstream we have to make sure that whatever we have downstream and upstream can be moved away from bash into the OVNCube binary. You see,
So
if you looked at it only from upstream point of view, we have some delta, like 10% delta.
I mean, yeah, sure. I don't know, like whether we need to discuss details of what's happening in the downstream in an upstream meeting, but sure, as an NVIDIA employee that I'm working on that, I will have to take care of it.
Yeah,
I just want to understand like whether upstream itself, like in general, open to moving there, because it's a lot of, there will be some churn, like obviously some review work, and necessarily the code that is currently in the shell script, it is there for a reason, because a bunch of things are not implemented natively by the Go code itself. So there will be some code moved around.
Yeah. For example, right, downstream. I mean, we use firewall command to open up ports on the host. Upstream, we use IP tables command, NF tables command to open up UDP port Geneve 6081 as no track. All those things now you have to exec from OVNCube if you move away from bash. So there are a lot of OVS app-kernel command, OVS VS-kernel command, where we try to read from external IDs. So have you gone through every knob there it is today in bash, and then have a mapping matrix which tells how each of this, how did it originate, why it's there, and why it can be moved into OVNCube and why it cannot be. I think you have to scope all those things. It's what I'm saying.
I can definitely write like a wider, like, I don't know, it's OCAP, I guess, or whatever, where I would do like a more full matrix. I just made like a first swipe with some notes. There's a link there with how I think in general it would look like, but obviously there's a lot of details to cover. I can do the deeper coverage.
Yeah.
I just want to understand, like, do I need to, like, our in general open to explore that.
Yeah, I mean, if anything that we can reduce the image size of the base image, if it is 700 megabytes today, if I can get to 100 megabytes with distroless, yeah, absolutely. It's pretty cool. The only thing is, can we completely get rid of bash? That I don't know the answer to it. Maybe when you do your deep dives, you'll figure out.
Yeah. Okay. Let me write something down, because right now it's a theoretical discussion. And just to clarify, it doesn't preclude necessarily like getting rid of Ubuntu or Fedora based images. I understand that people may want to use that. There will probably, it's just an option. Okay.
Thanks.
All I had.
I have one more question here. So is it with regards only to OVNCube processes, or is it also other things that we do not necessarily have control over, like OVN, and BDB, etc.?
Yeah. So my end goal, general plan is to eventually move there. But OVN-Kube seemed like a good start. In some other environments, like OpenStack, where we had to put some of the services in containers, we had very lean shell scripts to start these services and manage them. And though these were still shell scripts, I don't think I remember anything intrinsic that could not also be it seemed to me like it's also doable. And I had some experience with running these services before with something that was a lot more linear than what I see in OVN-Kube.sh. I can definitely try to cover this part also in OCAP, can expand this RFE. I just wanted to have some reduced scope, I guess, at first. But if we wanted to have like a complete coverage before we start considering it, I can do full metrics. But yeah, the end goal, I would like to have like very lean images for all the services. Yeah, and so these images will be different for all these services. So there will be a separate image for OVN-Kube and for OVN specific services. Yeah. But each of them will be small.
Thanks.
Okay,
Thanks.
I will write down.
I think
and
the idea
next
is,
time we'll discuss.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was saying that next step, I will write down some OCAP and maybe next meeting we can rediscuss it.
Yeah, before you go down the path of OCAP, is everybody here okay with that action item? The reason I ask that is because it would be good if there will be a champion for reviewing IHAR's OCAP so that it doesn't go stale.
I can review. It's been worked by also
Thank you.
Rangan, right? Our side. So between three of us, and I don't know. See, the thing with Red Hat is, if I remember correctly, you guys embed. You don't use OVN-Kube.sh at all, right? You guys embed the
That's right.
equivalent into the args of the container directly in the YAML file. So it should not. It should be mostly no op for you folks. This mostly looks like our requirement, but yeah.
Yeah, anything touching dist images, we don't use it
Yeah.
downstream. Cool. Thank you, Girish, and anybody else who will help review this, and thanks, Ihar, for driving this. Moving on.
Wait,
to keep
Surya,
time.
but
Oh, yeah.
the logic is copied into the downstream scripts.
Yeah,
So
you'll miss it out. Yeah, go ahead.
so maybe we should try to see if whatever approach we come up with upstream will also simplify Red Hat's downstream too.
Because if everything is in binary, then you'll not be able to reflect it. You'll have to now dig, a commit, which is binary changes, will have to be somehow translated to script in your Red Hat.
Well, like most of the script that I saw is just translating some variables into CLI options, and actually that can be just variables supported. So if you configure your Helm or whatever and set in the variables through this means, it will just automatically work. So you can get rid
There's
of a bunch of
exceptions though.
arguments.
Like I just mentioned, like the guard flows were added and stuff for protecting stuff in OVS. And that's kind of coupled along with like the network operator that we were talking about upstreaming. It all kind of ties in a little bit together. So let's just do an OCAP, and then maybe it'd be good to have somebody from the Red Hat side also review.
Yeah, we will try, but maybe that's a good point in case there is logic that will stop working. My understanding was that whatever works today will not break, that this is an alternative and it will be backwards compatible, but let's keep that also as something in mind.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. There is a bunch of stuff from Girish.
Yeah. So the couple of things I'll kind of go from easier to who are all coming for OVS OVN conferences, because we can have a, if there's a time, if time permits, we can kind of do a side thing for our Kubernetes. Like, do you know who are all coming on Red Hat side? At least on the NVIDIA side, I know who are all joining us.
On the Red Hat side, it's me, Patrick, Jaime, and Dave.
Okay, awesome. So on our side, it's Tim, Nadia, myself, and Han will be there. Did I miss anyone? Awesome. I think we have a like a good chunk of, so we should probably try to leverage some of the time to see the next set of things for our Kubernetes. Like we can do a breakout or something like that. That'll be great. Um, so let's go to the top. Like obviously metadata service IP is very critical to us. As I see it, there are two ways to solve it. One is what our Tim has proposed with the maybe virtual IP annotation, not necessarily cluster IP. And second thing is the admin PBR. So Tim, do you know where this is heading? Is there a general quorum, or there's still some confusion?
On the Slack thread last week, I was talking to Miguel, and he said, "Why don't you just use a secondary UDN with like a 169.254 network?" And so I said I was going to talk to you about it, and we didn't have a chance yet to sync up.
Yeah, the problem with secondary UDN is, let's say there are 1,000 tenants and each 1,000 namespaces. Now I have to create 1,000 SUDNs for each of the things, correct? So I don't think it will scale.
The other issue is that if you go that route, you can't guarantee that you always access the local metadata service that's on your node, because you're not using like a service with ETP local, you're just using a pod somewhere on the secondary UDN. So I didn't know if that was okay or not.
So, sorry, Tim, can you say again? I didn't get it.
It's like if you use the secondary UDN, right? And you put
Yeah.
like a 169.254, 169.254,
Right.
right? That pod could be anywhere on any node. So is it okay? Because your original requirement to me was that when you do the metadata lookup, you should reach a pod that's on your own node.
Yeah, it
But
should be
in
on
this
the
case,
workload. Yeah.
yeah, in this case, it would go across node.
Correct. You'll have to do something like ITP and all those things, right? Like internet ITP equals local. So I think where, see, the other ways that admin PBR, right, Tim? Maybe I'll talk to you today and then kind of see how we need to. Is Miguel here on the call? No, he's not here. Yeah, I think there's a very fair request, I believe, because any VM, when it comes up, few days go by, it wants to curl and ask for extra metadata for itself. You cannot provide it through Cloud Init initially because there could be tokens that have expired, and every day it has to be refreshed. So we need definitely, then we know we cannot wedge this thing in KubeVirt because of how KubeVirt networking. So maybe we should just use a Slack because we don't have Miguel here. I thought Miguel at the top said he's fine if we have to do this also, right, Tim? At the beginning of the
I
Slack.
think Miguel said it was like a cool feature to have, even without like the metadata use case, that you could just create a service and like define your own VIP as the load balancer IP. So, I mean, I'm not saying like we're not saying that you have to use this feature for the metadata
Alone.
reason. It's just one of the reasons, and that's why we want to use it. But
Yeah.
really, we're just advocating for enabling that feature where someone could create a service with a special IP address that they want to use on a load balancer that's only seen internally in the cluster on that UDN. So, like, I guess the question is, Surya and like the Red Hat folks, do you have something against doing that? If not, then I can like propose the OCAP.
I unfortunately dropped the ball on that entire conversation on the issue, so I would have to go back. I know, Jaime, you were chiming in, but for me, I think I still do not understand why KubeVirt can't solve the problem and why this belongs in OVN Kubernetes. That is, why is it CNI specific? Is it only because of the UDN concept? Or are we solving a VM problem in OVN Kubernetes?
So yeah, please read through that um, PR discussion or whatever Tim had posted to us, and have some diagrams which explains why we can't use KubeVirt. And also Metadata is a common service across all the tenant pods. Okay. It cannot be a sidecar where I can punt. If you have 5,000 VMs, I cannot have 5,000 sidecar giving metadata to it. It's like one metadata per node or one metadata per.
Yeah. In OpenShift, we also have the metadata service running, and I think we even
Yeah.
block access to it to make sure that it's secure and nobody can reach it and things like that.
Yeah, it's a very common thing. All the CMS provides it, OpenStack provides it. Yeah. The next thing is UDN perf enhancements, correct? So I'm just rushing through because I don't think I'll have all the. We're only 23. So this is also UDN perf enhancement. I think there's no issue there, right, Tim?
No, just need to get
Reviewing that
Nadia.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And transit router, think you got 2 rounds or something, you're almost there, correct?
Yeah, I've just addressed the Patrick's comments, so I'm waiting for hopefully LGTMs or some last very minor comments, I guess, both from Tim and Patrick when you have time.
Okay, you updated it. I'll look at it today.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll take a look at this as well. And I know Dimitri wants to take a quick pass on the oven bits. So yeah.
Oh, did he? Because now is the time.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ping him then, because I didn't know that he wants to review the implementation too.
And UDN interconnect, we got the PR. Thanks, Surya and Nadia. And one of our engineers, Venu, is on the call. He started already playing with it and things like that.
Oh,
My-
that one, the POC.
Yeah, POC.
I mean, we
Has been
changed a lot
changed.
from
That
that.
changed a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
So that one was really a POC to write the design enhancement. Definitely not nowhere close to what will land in a production code. Just heads up, because
Okay.
we changed a lot with the design, also in how we are doing the location and things. But what stays the same is, the router and the routes. Those parts don't change, right? So it'll, at the end of the day, that's how it'll look like. But I'm just saying that code-wise, expect huge change, right? Do not try to downstream it yet,
Oh, no.
because
This is just for him
okay.
to unblock and test. You can consider him as one of the like person who test your changes. So if you have anything late,
Thank you. Okay.
yeah. So if you have anything latest and greatest, if you could, there are 3 people
Yeah.
on it: Venu, Partha, and Divesh. Can you, guys,
What was the
our
third name? Yeah,
Partha,
maybe can you do a
Partha.
Slack thread maybe? Then I can try to share.
Yeah, exactly. Venu, do you want to kind of ping
Yeah,
Surya
I'll do that. Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
open
For the
Slack?
moment, I've not started looking at the code and I'm just trying to understand it. So I've not started the actual testing or anything like that, but I'll sync
Yeah.
on the.
If you want, you can also read the OCAP. That might
Yeah,
be a
that's what
good
I'm doing.
start
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Right now,
Okay.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
doing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
and I think we're almost agreed on the design. Like Tim and Nadia were, really helping with trying to learn some of that. So I think we've spoken through most of the things. I just need to push based on all the conversations we've had, and then hopefully Tim and Nadia will do another final round, or at least the design wise. And then the POC PRs, let me share the latest so that it's not the old ones.
okay, awesome. So the heartbeat, I don't know if Alin is on the call here. If Alin is not here, we can skip it. I'll talk to him. Um, yeah, let's skip it. It's not here. It's the idea here is that if DPU goes down, we see when you have a host with DPUs, correct? Oh, Alin is here, waving. Okay, on the chat. Alin, are you okay? So Alin, what's the decision here, guys? The quick summary is you have a host that has a DPU on it. Because of the split interface model, right? You have VF on the host, the representer on which we program things is on the DPU. Therefore, Avan Kubernetes has 2 components, one running on the host and one running on the DPU. If the thing, and they work in unison. If the thing on the DPU is broken, then the thing on the host is useless. It cannot do much. So if thing on the DPU is broken, the thing on the host needs to know about it. And then they came up with a heartbeat mechanism. We need to make sure that um, if the thing on the DPU is broken, the thing on the host here knows about it and then marks the node or taints the node. So Alan, is that something? Can you please take it upstream and kind of do? We had some comments right downstream. Can you please upstream it? Uh, Alan is he's on the chat, but he's not here in person. Is it, or I'm not able to see him? Anyways,
I
let's.
have a really stupid question. What is this heartbeat? I don't want to ask, but is there an okay?
Yeah, he's going to write an OCAP, or he had a PR actually. So, Alan, we cannot hear you. I think he's asking questions on the Slack. So, Surya, to summarize, right? The idea here is that we're going to use node lease equivalent, where this Cube node DPU would, in Kubernetes namespace, will create a lease for every node. If you have 1,000 node cluster, you have 1,000 leases, and the thing on the node on the DPU will constantly refresh the lease, and the thing on the host will check if the list got refreshed. If the list did not get refreshed within some amount of time, it know it's stale. So it know that the DPU is not breaking progress, and therefore it will just mark the node as tainted. So we have seen situation where DPU side things are bad, but we're still scheduling the pods on that node, and those pods come up and they're in crash loop back, and it's not a very good um, um, experience for the end user, because the pods are getting scheduled, but they're not reaching the running state. The kubelet itself is in a ready state. So
The,
I let
the, the key here is you want to taint the node when the
yeah,
DPU goes down.
exactly. That's the TLDR.
Are we trying to solve a scheduler problem or a networking issue with setup?
We are
That is
giving
when you say that the pod is getting scheduled on stale
we're
TPU
giving the
side.
hint to scheduler not to schedule things on this node because GPU things are bad.
Okay. Cool. I think Alan, maybe we can take it offline on Slack. I don't see. He is on the call, but in case your mic isn't working, let's keep moving. We have
Yeah.
maybe
We have,
a few minutes
I'll come
left.
back to the local port thing later because a few other things. So we have merged downstream, okay, up to September 24th, thanks to Kathy. We have identified bunch of things that's downstream only, which we think upstream also can help.
Oh,
And
wait, do you mean that you've moved to using everything from September 24th? So are you on IC?
yes, I mean the code base is September 24th. All the new zones will be on IC. The old 70 odd zones across the world is still on Central. We are shit scared to upgrade it because
Yeah,
we are
makes sense.
very, very, very sensitive to downtime, and there's so many things. I'll not go into the details of it, but between Tim, Nadia, and myself, and we'll come up with upgrade plans. So they're not there yet. The idea is to obviously by end of this year somehow or magically or at least Q1 of next year move complete to IC, okay? So there should be no reminiscent of Central. So I know last the meeting you guys asked whether we can remove Central. Unfortunately up 1.2, maybe in 1.2 we can deprecate, in 1.3 we can remove. So it will be there till Q1 of next year, unfortunately. So yeah. So that's the IC is one part. The second part is there are a lot of things that's there downstream. We have like 40 odd things that are there, very small patches here and there. We're going to upstream it, so expect more PRs from our side. I just want to kind of just bring this in, and the next thing we discuss the conference. So yeah, the next one is the Net Observe project, right? See, for us, I think I'm repeating myself. Like few months back, we said, see, the Cilium shines obviously because of eBPF. Everything is inside the Linux kernel. They do not have any baggage. A lot of the CNIs out there don't have any baggage in terms of control plane, right? Everything is either in the Linux networking stack for them, is through eBPF or through IP routing. Minimally they may need FRR, correct? But with our Kubernetes CNI, we have OVN requirement, we have OVS, and then there are a lot of control plane. You have Genie overlay, ton of things is happening, right? And where we lack is we don't have a UI, and in other CNI, at least through Hubble, Cilium shines with the UI part. So I was told that OpenShift has NetObserve thing. I'm just wondering, we have some plans to see if we can take NetObserves and make it generic for our Kubernetes itself. So is there, I've spoken to Tim and Nadia here and also here to some extent. Like how much of NetObserve is OpenShift isms? Is there a way to kind of make this a sub-project upstream in Avan Kubernetes and make it a UI? Make it a UI
So
for Avan Kubernetes.
I've
It's
just
already
actually
its
ended the
own.
Net Observe meeting today, so I have the freshest news, I guess,
No,
on
go
that.
ahead.
So they are an upstream project, but
Correct.
they still don't have any other users besides OpenShift users, basically. So it doesn't always mean the exact same thing, but the OpenShift dependencies are still there, even though they are trying to avoid them. And they are, as a community and as a project, are happy to help make it OpenShift independent as much as possible. So they're just basically waiting for someone else to try and adopt the project and tell them what doesn't work in a generic case, right? So that's what we need to do. They do have, so currently their UI, they have their own UI, but it's a plugin to the existing like wrapper, which is the OpenShift console, which is the thing that's actually running like its web page. So it doesn't have it, the NetObserve doesn't have its own like standalone, fully running and independent web page because it is, as I said, built as a basically one tab in the existing OpenShift interface. Now, it doesn't, well, based on what they told me, it shouldn't be too difficult to introduce this like fully standalone thing, which is basically will be like a web page that could be deployed also in the Kubernetes cluster and just be basically what is displayed in the NetObserve tab in the existing OpenShift interface, but that doesn't exist yet. So we will either have to like implement that ourselves or maybe find someone in the NetObserve team who is more familiar with that and help us with that. But anyway, they're pretty excited for more adopters, willing to help. There are some things that may be still OpenShift specific, but there shouldn't be too many. They have also their own dependencies on different kernel versions that they support with different features, which is another thing. And yeah, they're basically, it's the ball's on our side to just start testing and seeing what needs to be improved and then reporting back and working with their community.
So Nadia, this NetObserve thing, right? Is it anyway borrowed, adopted from Hubble, or it is its own thing, ground up, or
Nope. Yeah, absolutely its own thing, not related to Hubble at all. It does have its own like interface, which I mean, not exactly the same. We can, yeah, people can argue if it's prettier or not than the Hubble, but I mean, it does some similar things.
I see. So a couple of things we need to be careful about here is that one is offloads, right? If the moment you enable, I'm assuming it uses eBPF for.
Yes.
Yeah, so we need to distinguish what we mean when we say eBPF here.
Right.
So there's eBPF where it will hook into the pods to see what the pods are transmitting on their interfaces. That's one use case.
Yeah.
That data is sent to an eBPF agent that runs on the node. And then what we did, Nadia and I at Red Hat, was we had to basically, and the help of Oven folks and OVS folks, is there's basically a hook in OVS now where you can redirect stats through another socket. So rather than sending it up to OVS vSwitch D, which impacts your control plane, you can send it off somewhere else. So you basically send it off over another socket, and then there's an eBPF listener listening there to collect that data, which is NetObserve, and then send it off to a remote server somewhere. So I don't know if that works with user space or not. I don't know, Nadia, do you know?
Well, I mean, it depends on where the eBPF program basically can see the packets, but also if it doesn't have access to some of these things, you could, I think you mentioned that we used to have some mirroring or something. You can enable that and just make sure all the packets that you need to send to some other place.
But it's basically like a new action added down inside of OVS. So we need to see if that's supported in the user space path or not.
Yeah, so what you're talking about is like actually a smallish feature of this observability, right? Because it's like it tracks ACLs for now and like as reasons for some actions. But what they have is like also lots of other features with the basically observability of the traffic happening in the cluster, which is not related to that hook at all.
Yeah, I'm just trying to like show how there's differences between when we say like eBPF, what we mean. So there's like no way today to see what's happening inside of our data plane, like what's happening in OVS. See, Girish, like if a packet is dropped because of a network policy, how do you know that that's what happened? Besides like looking at our logs that we post.
Right.
So this is a way you can hook into the data plane and get information about why packets were dropped. That's what we worked on.
So it's mostly control plane, is it? Then, like, can I observe the continuous flow of data plane? I thought Hubble does something with the data plane too.
Yeah, this new
Yeah.
OVS action hooks into the data plane so that you can get that information.
Okay, cool, cool. So perhaps we can do like one of like presentation of what NetObserve does, because we know what Hubble does, because we had an intern come in last year, worked on it like 5 months, and integrated Hubble and OVN-Kubernetes and OVN. Okay, maybe we can do this. You guys explain us NetObserve. We'll explain what we did with Hubble, and then see if one replaces other, they complement each other. So I don't know if it complements or it one replaces other. So let's do that, and then maybe come to upstream with a plan. Does it sound sense? Does it make sense? Because
So
when the intern was there,
they
one
have
of
their web page that I'm sharing right now, that where you can basically see some pictures of how their interface looks like. So the question is, what exactly do you want to know? So I mean, there are lots of different features, and well, basically just looking at their blog posts, I guess, is the best way to see if there are some that you want to have.
yeah, cool. So let's do this. Sorry, go ahead.
So also, Girish, that part that we're talking about, so it's like layered, right? The part that we're talking about that we did down inside of Oven and OVS and Oven Cube, Nadia exposed that not just via NetObserve, but also there's a debug tool in our repo where you can set up your own listener to listen on that socket and get those packets. So if you want to see, like if you just install with Kind and you launch her debug tool, then it will attach to that socket. And if you have drops coming in because of network policy, you'll be able to see those packets inside of like I don't know how you print it out, Nadia, or what's the interface there.
Yeah, that's pretty ugly dump of packets.
But it's something, right? So
yeah, I mean,
we
it
can
has
look
its own
into-
use case, but with NetObserve, it's much prettier, I should say.
Yeah, but I mean, we can look at that first and say, okay, well, does this work in user space or not?
Okay. Oh, yeah, user space, and also, guys, there is this also OVS Docker, which is there's no kernel at all. All the packets from the driver directly goes to the poll thread. So we need to figure out how this fits into OVS Docker. So a ton of things that comes to my mind. That's pretty cool.
I mean, did you manage to make it so you said it right? I imagine it works exactly the same as the Hubble does. So
Yeah, we
did you
got Hubble
manage?
to work okay. So what we'll do
Yeah.
is we'll present to you all in one of our internal meetings what Hubble did, or what Hubble, because it was before you guys joined. And then you can tell us, hey, NetObserver does this. Hey, this is exactly what this does, you know. Then we can compare notes and then come to upstream here and then tell what the plan is and then kind of see if it interests upstream. Let's do that, please. Because we need UI, right? Either for us, what I've been doing is using monitoring dashboard as a UI into our CNI, which is basically gives me KPI. Hey, in the last 1 week, I've plumbed all the pod networking. Every pod came up with all the IP addresses, blah blah blah. Right? It's not very interesting. I think what NetObserve and what we did with Hubble makes more sense.
Yeah, they do a lot of nice things, and I would
Yeah.
imagine that all it's same eBPF based stuff. So it probably everything that was possible with Hubble will be possible with that one, and we have a nice group willing to help us with that. So I would expect that to be the best way.
Awesome. Okay. Cool. Sorry, 5 more minutes. I have two more things. One is this: we need to support for one of. Oh yeah, Tim. This one we cannot remove multi-node support because there are at least two use cases that comes to mind where we might depend on this. It's multi-DPU. If you have a host with two DPUs or three DPUs, right? The host itself is a chassis. It's a Kubernetes node, but it has three DPUs on it. One of the ways to solve it is treat the zone for the three DPUs as a node name. Those three DPUs on that single node, on one of the DPUs, you'll make it as you'll run the DB, 1 DB standalone. That DPU2 and DPU3 will connect to it. So basically, the zone is a three node zone because there are three DPUs. You see what I'm saying? So I have some diagrams. I'll share it with you.
You're gonna run OVN-Kube on only one of those DPUs, and it's gonna
Correct.
manage the other two DPUs.
Correct.
So if one DPU goes down, then all of OVN-K is down for the other two DPUs.
That's correct, because if one DPU, the blast radius is if the primary DPU which provides north-south access to the host will be the DPU that will be the head node running DB. If that DPU goes down, the node itself is down. So at that point, it
Why
doesn't
would you
matter.
do that? Why wouldn't you run it on every DPU, and then you don't have to worry about one failure compromising all the cards?
So there was few diagrams. I can work with you offline. We kind of thought through it. There were some issues. It's not coming to my top of my mind. I have a document written and capturing stuff. Maybe I'm missing something. We can work offline. That's one use case. Second use case is to do with multiple VMs running on the same node. I'll come to that. Okay, I'll kind of explain this another use case with if you have multiple VMs running on the same node, and those VMs is clustered with Kubernetes. I'll talk to you offline about it.
Okay.
Yeah. The last one is the flow test, right? So this flow test, I forget who it was who's maintaining it for us. William, right? William wasn't it William? From Red Hat, which is all. So this does not have support for UDNs and CUDNs yet, correct? It still does NATs. So I
Yeah,
was wondering if William is still maintaining this or
I don't think so. I can check with William, but I think someone, I forget, Thomas was doing it. I can check with Thomas.
Surya, can you please, because this flow test, see, unfortunately, what has happened is downstream, it's still Billy's shell script based thing that we got from 2 years ago. We took his repo and kind of smeared a lot of our stuff in around it. I cannot even send it upstream. It's so many of so many of NVDSM in it. And then in the meantime, it was rewritten to Python. We never adopted to Python because we had so much of shell script code in that. So it's all over the place actually. So we need to check with Thomas to see whoever is maintaining whether he's going to add UDN and CUDN support for this.
Yeah, I think also
Tahiti?
another way is you can open an issue for this one meanwhile on this repo, and then I
Yeah.
can take it to Thomas. And I think he's the one maintaining it right now, but if he's not, then at least someone else can also contribute, so it should be okay.
Yeah. See, our intern Sahiti, if you remember, kind of helped a whole lot with this, added support for a ton of things. But after she left, it kind of was left at the hands of that's the person actually. So you know what? Let me do this. I'll raise the issue and then see. We need UDN and CUDN supports for this.
Yeah, I think that would be good, and I can contact Thomas.
Cool. I think we're at top of the hour, and local port I think might not work for us for a couple of reasons. Um, we'll kind of capture that for the next meeting.
Okay, sounds good. I do not know what local port means in this context, but let's not open that can.
Metadata,
Maybe
right? Yeah.
Okay.
For metadata,
Cool.
OVN has this notion of local port where every logical switch will have it, and that local port will
With
have the same
OpenStack.
IP. Yeah, just like OpenStack. See, the problem here is that the metadata okay, I'm like a just two-liner. The entity that runs the metadata service now has to bind to this local port, but it will have its primary IP from PUDN. I don't know how you're going to plug that local port into that pod namespace so that it can bind to that local port. As long as you run the host network pod, everything is golden. But sorry, go ahead.
But how does it work with OpenStack? Because OpenStack you can have different networks, right?
See, OpenStack plugs that local port into the Linux network namespace called metadata service namespace, service agent namespace. It's like host network. It's somehow they plug that into that namespace, a metadata L3 agent or something like that.
Yeah, but then like the VM has to go talk to it, right? And so
Yeah,
the
what
VM
happens
talks
is,
with its IP.
yeah, Yeah, when the VM curls it, that local port has that IP, right? And then the OVN pipeline will forward the packet to that local port. The local port is in that metadata L3 agent namespace. And then there's only one metadata agent, neutral metadata agent running, and then it sees all the packets coming and goes, right?
Oh, each network is its own metadata instance.
Ah,
That's what you're saying?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay.
So the thing is, if it's an overlay pod on PUDN, offering the metadata service, how do you now plug? I was thinking about it. It looks very ugly, right? Like every PUDN will have a metadata daemon set pod, and now we have to somehow plug a local port into it, right? That's the only way that metadata pod will get the packets. But this local port, how can you now have one more interface into that? Yeah, you see what I'm saying, Tim? It becomes
Yeah,
very
I'll dig into it a little bit more today and write up why it won't work if it won't work.
okay. Cool. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I think we're 2 minutes over. Thanks everyone for hearing out.
Yep. Thanks all. Have a great rest of your week. See you in 2 weeks. Bye.
I know.
Okay.